Hello. Today we are going to take a look at Barracuda email security service. Specifically, we're going to talk about the user quarantine controls, the emails that you receive in digest report form or the user portal, depending on how you're accessing. I am Dale Harkness at Computers Nationwide, and let's get going. So, what are user quarantine controls? What ability do you have as an end user to adjust and change settings related to spam? Well, the service that's allowed to you gives you an ability to either deliver, allow, or block emails. You have that ability to control those settings via a digest report that's emailed to you, or via the user portal, which is an on-demand system. Now, the report, because this does come up quite a bit, the report only actually comes if there is spam. Now, the report threshold settings are all controlled via the administration console. Sometimes, as a user, you would have an ability to change how often the digest report would come, once a day, twice a day, whatever that threshold is. But oftentimes, it is a restricted control and is something that simply is adjusted by the administrator on the other side. But that's what the user portal is for, because oftentimes, since the report only comes if there is spam, number one, something in your quarantine, or if the report only comes once a day and you need to verify if something got caught in quarantine or was rejected, the user portal allows you to have kind of that continued ability to review emails that might be caught up. And it also has additional features. So you're kind of restricted, as you will see here in a little bit, and what you can do with quarantine controls inside of that digest report email. So the user portal allows you to do things like search for missing emails, or if you lost a copy of your digest report email and don't recall if something did get caught in spam, you can certainly just jump into the user portal and search for it. It allows you to tweak your block and allow list because right from the digest report, as we'll see again, you have an ability to directly block and allow email senders, but in case you need to change those settings. And the user portal typically is LDAP authentication, so it'll be the same username and password you use to log into your computer or your email will be the same authentication for logging into Barracuda. So that's really a good intro. I want to jump out of the PowerPoint slide here, and we can take a look at the actual digest report. So this is an example of an email that comes from Barracuda. Again, the threshold depends on what is set up in the background and or allowed to be tweaked by you as the end user. But a typical digest report email is going to look like this. It's going to show one, in this particular case, it says one inbound quarantine email for me. It shows the from address, the date and time, and the subject. Pretty standard stuff. It also gives you your actions, so you can deliver, you can allow, or you can block. Now, down here at the bottom, it does elaborate that, but let's just kind of quickly hit that. Deliver would be a one-time thing. It would say, this specific email, I want a copy of. And it will not actually put that from address on an allow list. Now, if I click allow, it will not only deliver it, but it will also add that from address into a whitelist so that subsequently future emails would not be blocked. And then, if I hit block, it's going to completely shut that down. Now, you have two buttons that appear. You have Manage Quarantine and you have View Message Log. Now, these buttons auto, log into your account. So it's very important to note the disclaimer that's down here at the bottom. Because those buttons kind of are authentication tokens, don't forward this email, because it would allow whoever you forward this to direct access into your quarantine and message log. So not a good thing. You definitely don't want to do that. So refrain from forwarding that email to anybody just because of that fact. So if I was to hit manage quarantine or view message log, it would automatically jump me into the user portal. But I want to take a second to kind of show you the user portal login page. So again, in case you want to bookmark this page, it's a good idea in case you lose the email or want to kind of have more of a flexibility to log in and check your spam digest on a regular basis. The URL is ess.barracudanetworks.com. It'll take you into a login page, and you can simply sign in with your email address. And then again, if we're using LDAP authentication, which most of the time we are, you would supply your LDAP password, your Active Directory password, and it would sign you in. But if going back to this digest report, if I was to hit Manage Quarantine or View Message Log, it would automatically take me into said setting. So either the message log or the digest. So I'm just going to kind of pop around this portal, bring awareness to some of the more common areas to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that you can change and can alter in that portal. So just starting in the settings, so you can see quarantine notification. Right now, again, it's grayed out simply because most of the time we don't allow the user to alter that setting. But if you do on the administrator side allow that, they can tweak how often they are getting their digest report in an email. The sender policy, this is where we're going to be able to manually alter and change the block and exempt settings. So again, back in that digest report, if I was to say mark this in an allow list, it would say, okay, well, I've now marked this as allowed. And if I go back into my settings, I would see that one identity, and that ding you heard is me getting that email. You'd see that one identity is now exempt from being marked as spam, potentially. Now, I can certainly remove that. Or if I want to manually add senders, I can add them here. So I can add entire senders with the full email address, or I can add entire domains if I want by simply populating the domain portion of this. And again, same for blocking. So again, it's nice to have an ability to alter that. We're not going to look at linked accounts or changing password. We're not going to change password simply because we're using LDAP. It won't let you anyways. I'm going to jump over to the message log because this is where the real kind of control flexibility for you is going to be. So let's say that I'm concerned that I did not receive an email. This commonly happens. Or again, I'm not wanting to wait for my digest report, so I want to see if an email is actually out here, kind of hung up in quarantine. So for example, I can go back and go, okay, well, maybe I missed my digest report and this email was very important to me. So I can actually click on it and it will show me information about the email. If you're nitty-gritty techie, you can look at the source so you can see the headers, which is always fun. But from here, I can also do the allow or block, or I can even just download the message. So download would download this as an Outlook email file format, and I can save this email subsequently wherever I feel like it, and use it for later reference. I can also deliver the message right from here. So again, these controls that I see in the user digest report that come daily, the allow, the block, and the deliver are also part of this message log portal. So you again can come out here and manually, again, if you lost the digest report, change and alter those settings as well. I can also open the email right from here. So it would open it in the a bigger window for further review. Again, it kind of smushes it down here, causing me to have to scroll. But again, it's nice to be able to have some flexibility here in looking through the message log. The real ability is up here in search, and we use this a lot on the administrative side as well for finding emails. So by default, it's only showing me quarantined messages. By default, only the last 2 days. But I can change some of these search settings and go all the way back to 1 month. And that's the furthest threshold that you can go. So if I said, show me everything quarantined for the last month and hit search, I would see a lot more email. Obviously, again, if I needed to go back and reference something. I can also do a quick search. Now, I prefer using the advanced search. So you can certainly use quick search, put in a keyword, a from address, or a subject line. But I like the advanced search because you have an ability to really drill down. Maybe it was, from a specific person on a specific date. So you can put those search criteria in there. As you can see, pretty typical standard stuff. You're going to see examples as I hover over in case you're curious about what to put in there. You can put, yesterday or a specific date or last month. Um, the from address field obviously kind of speaks for itself. You can use wildcards. You can use at domain name, and it will look for all emails in that domain. So again, you have some flexibility here. You can put specific subject lines in there. So again, this is a little more powerful than just the simple search bar, and I prefer that. But the other area to bring attention to, because oftentimes it's, well, it didn't show in my quarantine, but I know I didn't get the email, and that question comes up quite a bit. The message filter automatically changes to quarantined. Now you're going to want to change it to not allowed if you're curious if an email didn't get to you at all but didn't show in your quarantine. So by saying not allowed, you can see already I have an additional email that immediately populated. So the yellow ones are quarantined. That means I would see it in a digest report. The red ones mean that they were not delivered for a reason other than suspected spam or, again, putting in your quarantine. This particular email, for example, is red. It means I don't have an ability to actually release this. You can actually see that right there, on the bottom of the screen, that we are denied from being able to deliver certain messages. However, as always, some of these emails, maybe they were legitimate and you do need to get them delivered. This allows you to then report it to whoever your administrator is to say, hey, I see an email here in my not allowed list, and I really do need that email. It was miscategorized, or again, in this particular case, the reason says Barracuda real-time system. That means that it detected this as potentially malicious using their real-time scanning engine. But again, by changing that message filter from quarantined to not allowed, I can see things like blocked or deferred in my search, which is extremely helpful. Now, as always, if it doesn't show up here at all, that usually means it didn't get into the system. So we often hear that where somebody will say, well, I didn't get an email and I don't see it in my quarantine or in my not allowed list, then likely the issue, is with the sender. They probably received a bounce back of some sort and it did not get to Barracuda at all. So therefore, probably need to contact them. That is pretty much the features that we wanted to review today. As always, if you have questions, you can discuss that with the administrator of your Barracuda system or contact your support team and have a great rest of your day.